The Nature Conservancy of Canada's vision and threats outlined in 2016 lacks a true knowledge of the region and how the property sits on the edge of a small section of the Lloyds River Valley Escarpment ecosystem. Included in the outline is the following recognition. Access to this very large remote area is a logistical challenge for regular monitoring and stewardship. The purpose of this presentation is to assist the Nature Conservancy of Canada with an understanding of the complete wilderness ecosystem of which the property is only a small section. From the end of the pavement at Millertown, the 75 kilometers of Lake Ambers Road and Lakeside Road around the south side of the lake is maintained for about 60 kilometers to the Roebuck's Road turnoff to the Marathon Gold Development Project. The road is not upgraded. Annual washouts are made passable by the people who use it to access their cabins and wild hunting in the area. From there, it is about 15 kilometers to the lower Lloyds River Bridge across the river, where it connects up with the North Side Road, which starts at the Buckens Landing turnoff from the Buckens Highway. The natural beauty of the Lloyds River Escarpment should be protected before the road that connects the Buckens Highway to the Burgeo Highway is upgraded to a paved route through the central Newfoundland wilderness. The greatest threat to the central Newfoundland's natural landscape, such as the Lloyds River Escarpment, are distant voices in corporate boardrooms and the halls of Confederation Building, as when they planned and implemented the Bay d'Espoir hydro project and water resources were diverted out of the Red Indian Lake watershed. The original planning for that hydro project included a dam on the lower end of Lloyds Lake and the diversion of the Lloyds River watershed into Victoria Lake. The transmission line for the project and the Woods Road for logging were both built on the north side of Lloyds Lake and River Valley, leaving the escarpment untouched. During 2005, the last 5 years of the harvesting plan by Abitibi, to alleviate government concerns for the protection of the pine marten, Abitibi Consolidated donated a section of the escarpment to the Nature Conservancy of Canada. Consideration should be given to the creation of a provincial or national park to include all of the Lloyds River Valley and the Lloyds Lake area, and restrict cabin development to maintain the natural beauty and scenic drive through the area. The Lloyds River flows into the southwest end of Red Indian Lake as seen from one of the two bridges built across the river. The start of the Nature Conservancy of Canada property can be seen in this view looking up the river from the bridge, and the two ridges are the start of the escarpment, which is the approximate beginning of the property on the south side of the river. The river valley has a variety of shoreline features, some sections with a narrow plateau and other sections where the base of the cliffs are the shoreline. Sections of the old-growth forest still dominate the slopes and the plateaus down to the river bank. Having traveled the north side logging road in all seasons, the natural beauty of the changing seasons are well displayed by Otterbrook Falls and the river's changing shoreline along the way. This wide natural plateau along the south shore was not included within the property boundary, and consideration must be given to acquire this wildlife habitat. This photograph is an image created each fall when the water temperature is still warm during the frosty nights, and fog drifting off the surface crystallizes on the birch trees, as shown on the plateau and along the road in this winter postcard scene. First, to document and evaluate all aspects of the flora and fauna while monitoring the regional threats by all stakeholders outlined in the Great Lake Heritage Project included with this presentation. In addition to the concerns outlined is a greater wildlife present within this ecosystem. The common loon and the merganser, gozzard as we knew it, fish the river by flying up the valley and can be seen drifting downstream as they search for the abundant brook trout, lake trout, and salmon peel that travel the river. Also, the bald eagle can be seen flying in both directions in search of the larger lake trout, and sometimes can be seen perched in the top of a white pine that towers above the old-growth spruce and fir along the shoreline. Each fall, the lake trout of Red Indian Lake travel up the river and spawn on the sandbar in Lloyds Lake, which is at the northeast shoreline across from Boulder Brook. From the top of the escarpment that starts at the eastern end of Lloyds Lake, this panoramic view shows the view of the river valley, looking east toward Red Indian Lake, with Crooked Pond in the foreground. Crooked Pond can be seen in this series of images of how the outflow of the pond cascades down the escarpment toward the east end of Lloyds Lake. There is a similar pond and brook on the Nature Conservancy of Canada's property, which is yet to be explored and documented. The Escarpment Southside Logging Access Road was built up through Tux Valley, a few kilometers from the Escarpment Ridge. The landscape that runs parallel to the Barren Ridge at the top of the escarpment is bogs, marshes, and ponds, without any forest resource suitability for profitable harvesting. Because of this, there are no temporary logging roads presently giving ATV access to the Nature Conservancy of Canada's escarpment property. There are 2 cabins on the north shore of the river, opposite the property owned by the Nature Conservancy of Canada. One of the cabins was built on the landing that was created by Abitibi Consolidated to dump pulpwood into the river when they logged the area. This logging road network from Star Lake is used by migrating caribou down to this cabin site, and a check of the route over the Escarpment Ridge would verify its use today. The purpose of this presentation is to assist the Nature Conservancy of Canada with an understanding of the complete wilderness ecosystem of which the property is only a small section. Then the next objective is to document and evaluate all aspects of the flora and fauna and the natural landscape features, while monitoring the regional threats by all stakeholders outlined in the Great Lake Heritage Project, included with this presentation.